Have you ever had one of those moments, where something happens, a coincidence maybe, and it just feels weird? So strange. You kind of wonder, is this just chance or is there like something else going on?
Absolutely. Those moments that just make you stop and think.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into a whole pile of your stories, personal anecdotes you send in about these exact kinds of things. Tales of the unexpected, the uncanny, sometimes frankly unbelievable connections.
And we're going to unpack them right. Look at these extraordinary coincidences from reunions to, well, some pretty spine-chilling stuff, too.
Yeah, see what they might tell us about chance, connection, maybe even. Well, who knows? We've got stories about reunions, near misses, these uncanny links between events that seem totally unrelated. Lots of surprises, those aha moments.
It's fascinating stuff. The sheer variety in what people shared is compelling. Situations that sort of defy easy explanation, near misses that make you second-guess everything.
Right. And those strange echoes between lives. So where the ordinary gets, well, extraordinary.
Makes you look at reality a bit differently, maybe.
Okay, let's dive in. First up, the resurrected pet. So imagine this. You're a kid, your dog, Fluffy, seems to get hit by a truck right in front of your dad.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He thinks the worst, obviously, buries the dog. The family goes away for the weekend, thinking they've said goodbye.
Heartbreaking.
Totally. But then they come home, and there's Fluffy, just like sitting on the porch.
No way. After being buried.
Yep. Dad's completely baffled, saying, but I buried him on Friday. Turns out, Fluffy was just knocked out cold. Really good at playing dead, apparently.
Wow. Okay, so beyond the shock and presumably relief,
Oh.
what does that tell us?
Well, that's the interesting part, right?
It's about how we interpret things, isn't it? The father saw something, made a logical conclusion based on, the evidence.
That seemed pretty final.
Exactly. And then this complete reversal, it just highlights how our understanding can be, while incomplete, what looks like an end might just be temporary.
Makes you wonder how often we assume things, right? Based on what we think we see. A good reminder not to jump to conclusions, maybe.
Definitely, even when things seem obvious.
Okay, next one. This still kind of blows my mind. The long-lost book. So one of you, our listener, moves down to South Florida, totally new place for the family.
Right.
Browsing in a Goodwill one day, spots an old poetry book. Something about it catches their eye. Buys it, takes it home.
Okay.
Opens it up, and inside, an inscription. A third wedding anniversary message from their dad to their mom.
Get out. The same book?
The very same book. And here's the kicker. Mom sold that exact book years before at a yard sale. Way back in New Jersey.
Okay, hold on. From a yard sale in New Jersey, it somehow travels hundreds of miles, goes through who knows how many hands or stores, and ends up in a Goodwill in Florida, only to be found by the daughter of the original owners.
Crazy, right? Both parents confirmed it was the book.
The statistical improbability is just astronomical. It makes you think about objects, the sentimental value they carry, but also these invisible journeys they go on.
Yeah, like how did that specific book make that trip?
Is it just a 1 in a billion fluke? Or does it hint at something more?
Yeah.
About how our past can just, boom, reappear?
It's baffling. Makes you think about all the stuff out there floating around.
Mm.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Something a little spookier. The shared haunting.
Ooh, okay.
So a listener is chatting with a new coworker. Coworker starts describing their apartment, saying it's haunted.
Standard office chat.
Yeah, right. But as the coworker lists details, weird noises, lights flickering, you know the drill, starts sounding really familiar to our listener.
Uh-oh.
Listener asks for the address. Coworker tells them. Bam. Same apartment the listener lived in years before.
Whoa, okay, that's weird.
Gets weirder. The listener then shares some of their own specific creepy experiences from living there. The coworker freaked out so badly they moved out, like by the end of the week.
Wow. So what are the odds? 2 different people, different times, same place, similar spooky phenomena.
Right.
It does make you wonder, is it just suggestion, or could a place actually hold on to something? Residual energy, a history that affects people.
Yeah, like what's in the walls, figuratively, or maybe literally.
It blurs that line, doesn't it, between something purely personal, subjective, and maybe a shared reality linked to a location.
Definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
Okay, now for a story that's, well, it's got a darker edge. The unassuming killer.
Okay.
This listener's father had a heart attack, was in the ICU. The family really appreciated this one nurse, found him very kind, very supportive during a tough time.
That's good, having someone like that.
Yeah. Then, maybe 6 months later, the The listener's grandmother is also in the ICU. And incredibly, the same nurse is there, helping care for her too.
Small world, maybe. Or just works that floor.
You'd think. But then, about a year after that, the listener gets this shocking news. That nurse, the kind, helpful one, Charles Cullen, the serial killer nurse who confessed to killing dozens, maybe hundreds of patients.
Oh my God. That nurse, the one who cared for both her father and grandmother?
The very same.
That is deeply unsettling. It forces you to confront how deceptive appearances can be. Someone seems caring, professional.
And they're capable of unimaginable darkness.
Exactly. It really shakes your faith in, judging character, how easily we can be unaware of what's really going on with someone.
It's chilling, a reminder you just never truly know. Okay, let's try and lighten the mood a bit. The near misfortune.
All right. Sounds promising.
Listener was really down on their luck. Just a few bucks left, enough for maybe some ramen and like one lottery ticket.
Been there.
Right. So they're in this long line at the store, feeling pretty bleak. An elderly woman comes up behind them. Listener, just being nice, lets her cut in line.
Okay. Simple act of kindness.
Yeah, didn't think anything of it. The woman buys one quick pick ticket. Listener buys theirs, goes home. A few days later, the news is buzzing. Someone won the big jackpot. $90 million.
And don't leave me hanging.
It was the little old lady with the ticket she bought right before them. The exact numbers the listener would have gotten if they hadn't let her go first.
No. Oh, the what if on that one must be agonizing.
Did you imagine?
Wow. But it also shows how tiny decisions, tiny acts can have these huge, unforeseen ripple effects. A moment of kindness potentially changes two lives dramatically.
Definitely makes you think about those sliding door moments.
And that age-old question, chance versus choice. How much is just luck? How much is us?
I'd be replaying letting her cut in line forever. Okay, here's a really heartwarming one. The Transcontinental Canine Reunion.
A dog story. Good.
Yeah. So when this listener was a kid living in Texas, their beloved dachshund, Golondrina, just vanished. Family was heartbroken.
Oh, it's the worst.
A whole year goes by. Their former next-door neighbors from Texas, they move all the way to Kansas.
Okay, big move.
Their new neighbors, the ones who move in next door to them in Texas, also happen to be from Kansas. And guess what? They have this sweet little weenie dog they found wandering in Kansas.
Wait a minute. Don't tell me.
Months go by. The Texas family starts noticing this dog next door seems familiar.
Yeah.
Reacts really strongly when she sees them. They ask the new neighbors, "Where'd you get the dog?" "Oh, we found her wandering in Kansas." It was Golondrina.
The dog traveled from Texas to Kansas by itself?
Apparently. And the neighbors even still had her old collar to prove it. Found by people who then randomly moved next door to the original owners a year later.
That's like something out of a movie. The odds are just mind-bending. A lost pet travels that far and is then found by someone who happens to move right back to where she came from.
Incredible, isn't it?
It really speaks to resilience, maybe homing instincts, and these just unfathomable ways connections happen across time and distance.
Like a real-life Homeward Bound. Seriously. Okay, quick detour for some comedy. The unexpected celebrity encounter.
Let's hear it.
Listeners just eating lunch. At a Wendy's. Minding their own business. Who sits down at their table uninvited?
Uh-oh.
Bill Murray.
The Bill Murray. At Wendy's.
Yep. Casually grabs one of their fries, dips it in their Frosty, eats it, looks them dead in the eye and says,
Wait, I think I know this one.
"Nobody's gonna believe you." And then just gets up and walks away.
That's amazing. Classic urban legend, but this listener swears it happened to them.
Right. It's that perfect blend of the mundane and the completely surreal. Creates an instant, unbelievable story.
And perfectly captures that weird, unpredictable way celebrities can just pop up in normal life.
I think I was just frozen. Okay, this next one shifts back to a more unsettling vibe.
Yeah.
The tangled past.
Okay, bracing myself.
When this listener was 19, their boyfriend tragically died. He was stabbed.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So 2 years later, trying to move on, get a fresh start, they move into a house that's been split into 2 apartments. They get friendly with a neighbor next door who also happens to work with them.
Seems okay so far.
Then comes the bombshell. This friendly neighbor. She's the ex-girlfriend of the guy who killed the listener's previous boyfriend.
Oh, wow. No, that's a lot. To move next door to her.
Completely by chance.
That's a really disturbing kind of coincidence, how our past traumas can just suddenly intersect with our present in these really unexpected, uncomfortable ways.
Makes you think about how interconnected things are, even when you don't realize it.
Absolutely. That intricate web of connections, how people on the edges of major past events can just reappear. Really makes you think about the ripples.
Definitely unsettling.
Yeah.
Let's pivot again. Lighter side. The blind date mishap.
Please, yes.
Okay, our listener decides to play matchmaker. Sets up a blind date for herself, right?
Yeah.
And invites her best friend along, setting her up on a blind date with her date's friend. Double blind date.
Sounds fun, risky, but fun.
So the two guys show up, the door opens, and the vibe just hangs. Instantly awkward.
Why? What happened?
The best friend's blind date. Her ex-husband?
Oh, no. She set her best friend up with her own ex-husband by accident.
Yep. Can you imagine the tension?
Oh, the cringe. That's peak social awkwardness. A perfect example of how our social circles can overlap in the most unwelcome ways sometimes.
I bet that was a quiet dinner.
You think. Probably led to some unforgettable, if maybe slightly strained, conversation.
For sure. Okay, next story has more as an emotional weight. The numerological side.
All right.
Listener's grandfather was a really important person in their life. He passed away. His favorite number, for sentimental reasons involving a deceased uncle, was 44.
Okay, a significant number for him.
Yeah. So the year after he dies is just awful for the listener.
Yeah.
Really challenging time. They're not particularly religious or anything.
Right.
One day, things are just hitting rock bottom. Their car breaks down while they're trying to register their grandfather's old truck. In a moment of, desperation, they type a note on their phone, basically just asking for a sign, anything.
A moment of reaching out.
Exactly. Then they get to the DMV. They need a new license plate for the truck. They just ask for a random one, but choose the In God We Trust design option. The plate they're handed.
Don't tell me. 44.
Close. 4444.
Whoa. Okay. Especially given the number 44 connection and the plea for a sign.
Right. For someone not religious, it hit them hard.
And that's what's powerful, isn't it? The personal meaning. Whether you see it as pure chance or something else, the impact it had on the listener in that moment of need is undeniable.
Gave them comfort, the feeling of connection, maybe?
It speaks to that human need to find patterns, find meaning, especially when we're vulnerable. It's deeply subjective, but very real for the person experiencing it.
Such a touching story. Okay, here's a lovely reconnection story. The childhood connection rekindled.
Sounds romantic.
It is. Listener, age 9, falls off their bike, breaks their arm. A young boy who's just nearby helps them up, waits with them.
A little childhood helper. Sweet.
Fast forward 20 years. Listener is introduced to a friend of a friend. They start chatting, telling stories. Listener mentions the bike accident from when they were 9. The friend of a friend gets this weird look on his face. Turns out he was the boy who helped her all those years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
After 20 years.
Yep. And the kicker, they're married now.
Okay, that's adorable.
Yeah.
That really shows how these tiny, seemingly random encounters can echo through years and lead to something huge.
Paths crossing, then recrossing.
It underlines that idea of lives being linked in ways we just don't see at the time. A chance meeting paving the way for a lifelong relationship. Very serendipitous.
I love stories like that. Okay, next up, the generational home.
Sounds intriguing.
Listener and their boyfriend move into a new apartment. Sometime later, they find an old letter tucked away somewhere.
A hidden treasure.
Sort of. Reading the letter, they realize it was written by the listener's grandparents, who lived in that exact same apartment right after World War II.
Wow, literally walking in their footsteps.
Isn't that something?
That's an incredible, tangible link to family history. To know you're living in the same space where your ancestors started their life together during such a significant time, it's powerful.
Makes you think about the history of a place.
Absolutely. Contemplating their lives within those same walls, the echoes of their experiences, it's a real reminder of how our present is built on the past, sometimes in very direct ways.
Like their paths were meant to cross there, generations apart. Okay, how about a really quirky one? The 40-year cup swap.
40 years. Okay, lay it on me.
Back in the early 70s, a listener breaks a cup from her favorite dish set. She tries to replace it, but can only find one that's similar, but not an exact match. Annoying.
For little things that bug you, yes.
So 40 years pass. She's moved across the country. She's visiting a friend one day and notices her friend has cups that match the slightly off-replacement cup she bought decades ago.
Huh. Okay, weird.
She tells her friend the story of her broken cup and the mismatched replacement. The friend's jaw drops. Turns out, the friend had the exact opposite experience also 40 years ago. She broke a cup from her set and could only find a replacement that matched the listener's original set.
You're kidding. They had each other's missing pieces all along.
Exactly. So after 40 years living states apart, they just swapped their mismatched cups. and both finally had complete sets again.
That is delightful. It's such a charming resolution to a tiny, long-forgotten problem. Shows how memory persists and how solutions can pop up in the most random, serendipitous ways.
Those small, happy coincidences are great. Here's a much simpler one, but still kind of neat. The name that almost was.
Go on.
Listener found out, just chatting with her husband one day, that if he had been born female, his parents were all set to name him Megan Elizabeth.
And that's...
The listener's name, Megan Elizabeth.
Huh. Okay, yeah, that's a subtle but weird one, like a near-miss identity connection.
Right. Makes you think about those alternate possibilities.
The what-ifs of identity itself. Interesting.
Okay, shifting gears again, something a bit different. The intuitive connection with birds.
Birds.
Yeah. This listener had this happen twice. Completely separate occasions, different places. A hummingbird flew right into their outstretched hand.
Just flew into their hand. Why?
Both times, it seemed like the bird was trapped somehow, like inside a garage or near a window, and flew to their hand almost like it was asking for help.
Oh, that's unusual. Twice.
Yeah.
It's intriguing. Is it just the listener having a calm presence, the birds being in distress? Or is it hinting at some kind of, I don't know, deeper connection, trust between species?
Makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
About intuition, maybe? Or bonds we don't fully understand with the natural world?
It certainly prompts you to consider possibilities beyond our usual understanding.
Definitely. Okay, get ready for this next one. It's a cascade of coincidences. The parallel lives.
A whole list.
A big list. Listener's daughter meets a little girl at the park. Turns out they're going to the same kindergarten class.
Okay, happens.
They'll have the same teacher.
Still plausible.
They'll live on the same street.
Again, less likely.
Both families had toured each other's houses when they were house hunting without realizing it.
Okay, that's pretty weird.
Both girls attended the same infant care center years earlier.
Yeah.
And the mothers discover they went to the same college and graduated in the same year.
Stop. That's an astonishing number of overlaps. It's almost statistically impossible.
Isn't it wild?
It really moves beyond simple chance, doesn't it? It feels like their lives were just destined to run on these parallel tracks, constantly intersecting.
Makes you think about invisible networks, maybe linking people in ways we just have no clue about.
A truly epic level of coincidence.
It's like fate was just hitting copy-paste. Okay, another heartwarming one. The celebrity helping hand.
Always nice.
Listener's grandmother was traveling alone. Collapsed to JFK Airport. Not good.
Oh, dear. Hope she was okay.
She was, eventually, but guess who rushed over to help her? Picked her up, made sure she was all right. Yeah, Harry Connick Jr.
The singer, really?
Yep. Apparently the grandmother, a bit out of it, even said, "You look just like Harry Connick Jr." And he graciously confirmed, "I am."
That's a fantastic story. It just shows that unexpected kindness can come from anywhere, even famous people.
Right. Just a moment of human connection.
A reminder that celebrities are people too, capable of stepping up in ordinary moments. Great family story, I bet.
Definitely. Okay, now for something very 21st century. The accidental meme star.
A meme, okay.
Listener's wife works in childcare. Years ago, one of our clients dressed up their toddler daughter for fun orange jumpsuit, drawn-on eyebrows, scars, like a little inmate, just playing around.
Cute, maybe slightly odd picture, I guess.
Oh, that little girl. She later became famous online as the non-crying kid in the huge "Timeout Changes a Man" meme.
No way! That kid from the picture the wife saw years before.
Apparently. And adding another layer, the crying boy in that same meme was their neighbor at the time.
That's insane. The two kids in that globally famous meme were just a client's kid and the neighbor.
Yeah.
Wow. That perfectly captures how everyday life can just randomly intersect with viral internet culture. An ordinary moment gets digitized and takes on this whole other life, linking these kids to online history forever.
Completely unforeseen fame or infamy, depending how you look at it.
Wild.
Truly wild.
Okay, one final story. The delayed connection.
All right, bring it home.
Back in high school, sophomore year, this listener was supposed to go on a blind date. For whatever reason, nerves, scheduling, who knows, it just never actually happened. They canceled or it fell through.
Okay, a missed connection happens all the time.
Right. Fast forward 2 years. Senior year. Listener meets someone new. They start dating. Things get serious. Eventually, they get married.
A happy ending.
A very happy ending. But it wasn't until years into their relationship that they were reminiscing, talking about high school, and they figured it out.
Figured what out?
Her husband, he was the guy she was supposed to go on that blind date with back in sophomore year. the date that never happened.
Get out. They ended up together anyway. Yep. Took a different route, but they got there.
That's fantastic. It's like the universe just rerouted them. It really speaks to that idea that maybe some connections are just meant to be, even if the timing's off initially.
Paths eventually converge, maybe.
Despite detours or missed chances. It's a hopeful thought, isn't it, that what's meant for you might find its way eventually.
Like fate had a rain check on that date.
Right.
So, wow, what a collection. We've gone from resurrected pets and cross-country books,
Shared hauntings, brushes with infamous figures,
near misfortunes, dogs traveling hundreds of
to
miles,
celebrity encounters, tangled pasts, awkward blind dates.
meaningful numbers, childhood crushes turning into marriage, living in your grandparents' old apartment.
40-year cup swaps, name coincidences, intuitive birds, lives running in parallel.
Celebrity helpers, accidental meme stars, and dates finally happening years later. It's quite a range.
It really is a rich tapestry, as they say, woven with these incredible threads of coincidence. And listening to all this, listening at home, you've probably been thinking about your own moments like these, haven't you?
Yeah, those times, something uncanny happened, something that just felt significant or defied easy explanation.
I all have them, big or small.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe the question to ponder is the one we started with. Are these stories just glitches in the matrix, random chance playing out in weird ways?
Or is there something more, some underlying pattern maybe, and invisible web connecting events and people in ways we don't normally perceive?
Definitely gives you something to think about. Thanks for exploring all these incredible stories with us.